I'm Alexander Leipner, and a special welcome to everyone listening for the very first time. If that's you, special welcome to you. Talking to you specifically. And of course, if you are part of the Sandton Times Hour Nation and you're in Greater Gauteng, across South Africa, and of course anywhere else in the world, online or on air, I'm happy to report that all is well in Sandton land. And as always, I'd like to remind you that if you want to send through your questions, your comments, your feedback to the show, you can use a myriad of channels. There's no excuse. You can email editor@sandtontimes.co.za. You can connect on social media at Sandton Times on your preferred social media platform, if that's Facebook, X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads. I mean, there's a list to choose from. And of course, there's also the exclusive Sandton Times WhatsApp line, 084 Sandton. 084 Sandton. That's 084 726 3866. 084 726 3866. Feel free to save that, and you can send through your questions, your comments, your voice notes, text messages, or whatever else you have. Make that part of your WhatsApp rundown as well. Joining the team in the studio again, behind the mixing desk, Vincenzo. It's good to have you here again. And I think a good week all round. But yeah, we have to get into this week's show quite quickly because we've got so much lined up and so much to get through. But before we do that, we broke the ice on the WhatsApp line. Took us a little bit of time, but we got our first couple of WhatsApps that came through, and I do want to acknowledge those. And the first one was from Andre, who sent through testing. This the Sandton Times? Yes, it is the Sandton Times, Andre. Yes, you are right. You've tested it well. The WhatsApp line works perfectly, and I'm glad you made use of it, and I'm hoping to hear more from you in the coming weeks. And also, we got a couple of unknown ones, which, I mean, we can't quite figure out who sent it because they didn't add their name or where they're from. So if there's something to be learned from this, make sure you put your name and where you're from on the WhatsApp so we can at least say, hey, it was you from there. And thanks for sending it through. So this is one of the unknown ones. It says electric vehicle sales in South Africa, and next week, yacht sales in the Sahara. I think this is a very tongue-in-cheek comment based on the electric vehicle conversation we had last week. So thanks for sending that through. Another one also, once again, one we couldn't figure out, but we're going to get better at this. VW is moaning about not being able to compete with the Chinese vehicles that are flooding the market, but they need to talk to the local labor unions. It's all very well to go for higher and higher wages, but these will ultimately lead to fewer jobs. South Africa simply isn't competitive in the global markets. Well, another comment there from the WhatsApp line about that conversation we had about the cost of motor vehicles, the influx of Chinese vehicles coming into the market, and an opinion there. So it's good to see that you're making use of the WhatsApp line, and I hope we're going to upgrade to voice notes soon, and we're going to have more of these to read out in the coming weeks. Well, let's stay on this part of the issue, which is clearly crime. I read here that you get 360 cases a day that are reported in terms of theft and vandalism. And if I look at a statement by Cyril Ramaphosa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, in 2021 during a speech,
yes,
he said damage to public infrastructure, whether through vandalism or theft, is nothing less than sabotage against the aspirations of South Africans. Why are these crimes not treated accordingly?
Look, fortunately for us and the country, the Criminal Act was changed to accommodate this infrastructure theft. Before, if somebody had stolen something, they will have a really slap on the wrist and go home. Today, fortunately, the sentences are very high. I'll tell you now as an example. Last year alone, I think we managed to arrest 4. But after arresting these 4, I think 2 of them were sentenced, one to 18 years in prison, the other one to 8 years in prison. And then I think last month, the other one was sentenced to 3 years in prison, depending on the amount of copper they have.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
So this past week, popular restaurant Solo in Sandton, situated at 24 Central, became the scene of a deadly shootout, which left 3 people dead and 4 injured. And among the injured were 2 bystanders, a security guard from the restaurant and a community policing forum member. And he was on duty at the time. And the 3 deceased individuals have been identified as a man and his 2 bodyguards. And police are now investigating the motive, with reports suggesting that an altercation broke out from a dispute over the establishment's no firearm policy, and authorities seized multiple firearms, including 2 AK-47 rifles at the scene. and no arrests have been made as investigations continue. But here to discuss this matter with me is Chad Thomas. He's a private investigator with IRS Forensic Investigations. And Chad, thank you for joining me on the Sandton Times Hour.
Hi, Alexander, and hi to the listeners.
Now, Chad, just to clarify this from the beginning, you don't have any personal or professional involvement in this case per se.
Actually, we do.
Okay.
The deceased in this has been a person of interest in a murder for hire case that we've been investigating for quite some time now. We were very surprised by these developments because he has been on the radar of the authorities for quite some time. In fact, he was charged in a similar matter last year in January, where people were injured in a shootout that involved himself. He was charged for attempted murder there, and that case was provisionally withdrawn.